This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
Rick, I'm disappointed.
Why's that, Chris?
You should have had a Ouija board by now.
Huh?
Who was that composer guy?
Jack Horner?
James Horner?
James Horner.
It was like the same music from Die Hard and Aliens.
Yeah.
So we could be talking to like Sonny Landham.
Oh.
Folks, last week we did Logan Lucky, but there was a stinger at the end of where we talked about Sonny Landham, who passed away.
Yeah.
We could ask him what it's like to work with the Predator. But just beyond the grave.
Yeah.
You know? We'd all like end up getting punched by some invisible force. And then all the liquor would be gone. Welcome to episode 64 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end for me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Our sound and sample guy, Rick.
Hello.
And don't forget, folks,
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. Ron.
hey, Ron.
Hey, what's up?
From here to there.
Are we doing this right away?
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to play these games, kind of movie games. The three of us would come up with our own version. This week, we decided to do From Here to There, where we each pick an actor, and we decide how he or she got from movie A to movie B that actor has been in. Two completely different movies. We're connecting them.
Yep.
I'll go first.
All right.
I picked Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Yeah?
Keanu Reeves is a supporting character in mine, but let's do it.
Hey, that's fine, man. Maybe the tales will match up.
Extended universe.
Oh, yeah, baby.
You have no idea.
Do y'all remember Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure?
Excellent Adventure or Bogus Journey?
Oh, they're Bogus Journey. Yeah.
Okay.
I always get the two mixed up.
Bogus Journey?
Yes, Bogus Journey.
Okay.
Yes, Bogus.
So they get out of hell.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's in the movie. But at the end of Bogus Journey,
They do their big show.
they do the big show. They get Denomalos arrested.
Uh-huh.
And there's a bunch of...
The bad guy from Lethal Weapon 2.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of newspaper clippings at the end, like right before the credits, and it's like, oh, society is growing great and everything like that. And,
Yeah.
you know, the last thing you read is Wild Stallions to take their act and performance and play the first concert on Mars.
Okay. That's in the movie?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So here we go. After Bill and Ted return from performing their act on Mars, tragedy strikes when Denomalos' son, Absalon...
Was he in the movie?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, he's my character.
Let's do this.
Shit, man, I feel grossly underprepared now.
Okay, here we go. Absalon has come back in time and assassinates all but one member of the Wild Stallions. Oh, no.
So he assassinated one?
All but one.
Okay.
All but one. There you go.
There's two.
I think they have a backup band and stuff.
Their girlfriends.
No,
Oh, yeah. The girlfriends are part of the
Yeah.
band.
Death joins them.
That's
which
right.
I don't know how you kill
Oh,
Death.
yeah. He plays bass.
And then Station.
And Station.
That's right.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Wait. Doesn't end there. The two good robots of Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Oh, man, they had a huge-ass band.
This was a massacre then.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Ted narrowly escapes with his life and races back to Bill's home, where a special phone pulled from one of the time-traveling phone booths is kept in the event that the Stallions will need to call Rufus for help. Upon his arrival, he finds Rufus is already waiting for him and informs him that Absalom's armies have taken over Rufus's headquarters and that they have disrupted the circus of...
The circus of time.
Ted cannot travel back or forward to the HQ and stop the murders of his best friends and his wife, and neither can he receive help from the society founded on the Wild Stallions' music.
Yeah.
His only option is to travel to a date and time so far out of Absalom's scope that it's certain those circuits will be free of Absalom's control. Ted is told to enter the exact date and time he is currently in, except with a different area code. He's instructed to enter area code 02 and his date and time. When Ted arrives to his current time, everything is different. The change of area code has taken him to a different dimension in time.
Yeah. All right.
Which is outside of the reach of Rufus and the others, save for one last phone call from Rufus, telling him where he can find a young Denomalos, and that if he takes him hostage and brings him to his dimension's future HQ, which is overtaken by Absalom, he might be able to turn the tides in his favor and prevent his friends and his wife Elizabeth from getting killed. Just before the line goes dead, though, he's told that he will also need to find a new source of power for the booth, as this dimension's time travel works on different physics than his own. You'll have to find a substance called plutonium and construct a device called a flux capacitor and wire it to the phone's booth. The booth's phone! Ted sets out to find Denomalos, but finds it will be no easy task, as this dimension's Denomalos is a dangerous crime boss that is part of a group known as the High Table. Getting to him has taken Ted years and worked his way up through the ranks of mobs and crime lords. He has had to do some very bad things, but as the saying goes, fortune favors the bold, and he'll do anything to get his life back.
It's John Wick.
You're talking about flux capacitors. I was like, is he doing this right?
No, I just threw that in there.
Okay.
Okay. The odds start to look grim for Ted, as plutonium is almost impossible to get, and Denomalos is as elusive as a ghost. Though while getting to Denomalos, Ted finds this dimension's Elizabeth, who goes by the name Helen. The two fall in love all over again, and Ted decides to stay in this dimension for Helen. Only the laws of time and space, unknown to Ted, dictate that if Elizabeth has died in one dimension, her doppelganger will soon follow one way or another. Sadly, this comes to fruition, and Helen contracts a cancer and quickly claims her life. Ted is left grief-stricken, but Denomalos is still out there, and eventually, Ted will remember to find the Order of the High Table.
Is that a John Wick thing?
That is John Wick.
All right.
All right, yeah.
So fuck Bill, huh?
Yeah, fuck him.
Or at the end of the John Wick franchise, that's when he goes back and saves everyone?
Yeah.
That's how he does it.
Yeah.
Good job, Rick.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
All right, here we go. From 2001, you guys remember a little flick called Sweet November?
Nope.
Wait a minute, man. Is this...
With Charlize Theron and Keanu Reeves. She's got some kind of like terminal disease.
Yeah.
He's an emotionless executive. So they meet, they know each other's stories. So they're like, hey, she's like, I'm going to die at the end of November. Why don't we spend the month like falling in love? And then you can go back to being your emotionless prick.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, sure.
Hey, Harry. Want to earn a coin?
So they have this romantic stuff going on. And she's like, man, he's not that great.
Yeah.
In her head, the movie's all romantic, but she's like, I'm glad I'm changing my identity at the end of this movie.
Ooh.
Because I'm not gonna die. It's all a lie.
It's all a trick.
So he like holds her hand,
Yeah.
you know, when she's like on her deathbed, but she's got it like programmed. She's like, I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna go somewhere else. So he lets go of her hand and the flat line shit.
What a sick bitch.
Yeah, I know, right? And but she's like, sweet. All right, so she's like, walking around like, I can do what I want. Like montages of like free shit. And then the World War III happens. And she's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And okay, all the nukes get launched. It's post-apocalyptic. You know, she's got to survive. And she's like, God damn it. And then she fucking runs into Keanu Reeves again. And he's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's, she can't keep up the lie. He grabs her hand and he's like, this time I'm not letting go.
Oh.
And he holds her hand and he cuts her fucking arm off. And he's like, you bitch. She runs away, gets a robotic arm, and joins the fucking Fury Road. But out there,
He's coming.
it's Keanu Reeves. Holding a rotting skeleton arm.
I kept it for you.
I will get the rest of the pieces.
From Sweet November to Mad Max Fury Road.
All right.
All right. What you got, Ron?
Mine is not better than any of yours. But here's the thing. Okay, so my actor is Danny DeVito.
All right.
You ever seen the movie Junior?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, right?
Oh, yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant. His scientist buddy is Danny DeVito. At the end of that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger has had his baby. Danny DeVito is going to marry his girlfriend. And they're like, now it's your turn to have a baby, right?
Yeah. She was pregnant in that movie, I think.
Pamela Reed.
Yeah. Arnold's partner from Kindergarten Cop.
You bring up a good point. While I was trying to figure out how to connect my two things, I realized these smaller connections that were present.
Yeah.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger and even Pamela Reed. Okay, because I was like, all right, well, after Junior, he is set to get inseminated. Okay. Danny DeVito. At the last minute, gets cold feet, which then drives Arnold Schwarzenegger's character into a psychotic break.
Oh.
He's like, I want your baby. Okay. And he's like trying to kill him, right? I hadn't really decided whether or not Danny DeVito was actually pregnant yet or not, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So he has to go on the run from Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he goes back to his life of grifting and scamming. And at that point, I was like, wait a minute. This has happened before. Danny DeVito is a grifter and a scammer, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is involved. It's the movie Twins.
Oh, shit.
Okay? So then I'm thinking about Twins. And that's what they were born in that movie, okay? With this secret lab experiment, government shit, right?
Yeah.
But what nobody knows is not only was one of them smart, blah, 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 you know, they were all the culmination of all the sperm from a bunch of geniuses. Well, the process actually gave them unnaturally long life. Okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger's on that island with that one scientist, right? And he's like, oh, I have to go find my brother.
Yeah.
What he doesn't know is that he has been around his brother more than a few times already.
He got amnesia?
He was wrangled in by one of the scientists and re-brainwashed.
Okay.
Oh, man.
And I figured out that not only do all Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies take place in the same cinematic universe, but also all of their solo films as well. While Danny DeVito is on the run from being killed by Arnold Schwarzenegger from Junior, he ends up in Colombia, and he's going after this big emerald, okay? He's like going through that movie, Romance in the Stone. And he's lived many lives. Many identities he's had to make up every time Arnold gets close. For a few years, he even did a stint as a voice actor, where he was doing the voice in like My Little Pony, and he did the voice of the Lorax, right? And then one day, you know, he's like, oh, I got a job doing the voice of a cartoon cat. Let's check this out. So he shows up for work to record this cartoon cop cat, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is in the movie that he's working on. And that was Last Action Hero.
Oh, God.
He's like, oh, fuck, I gotta go again. He did some time in a insane asylum. This happened very shortly after they were, separated at birth. He was maybe only 20 years old. That was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Okay, that's not Danny DeVito's first movie, but it's pretty much his first movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? So all you have to do is just look at any of their movies, and they are just a snippet in time of the lives of these two twins.
Yeah.
Now, obviously they were born in that movie, so that's where their cinematic universe begins. But where does it end, right? Because think about it. Have either of them ever died in any of their movies?
No.
I do not believe so, guys. Which only supports my theory. The Arnold DeVito universe.
What about T2?
Okay, that ties in as well. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously ended up in the role of a scientist at some point, you know. He's got this long life, does all these different things. He ended up becoming Mr. Freeze. Okay, I really don't see him coming back from that. So eventually he ended up dying. Danny DeVito, okay, he ends up settling into a really shitty life of being a piece of shit as Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That was the end of my From Here to There.
Arnold never goes to TV, so he'll never find him there.
Correct. Now, eventually Frank Reynolds will end up dying and then being reborn as a dog named Rox in the movie Look Who's Talking Now. And no one but me has ever been able to quantify and see all of this for what it is, right? It would take a gigantic, unbelievably advanced supercomputer to catch this kind of anomaly going on, and that would be Skynet. And that's why it chose Victor Fries as its model for the T-800. Digit.
All right.
I'm here to everywhere.
And that brings us to Terminator 2.
Exactly.
All right. From 1991, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Dun 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 dun.
But it just came out in 3D.
T2 3D.
Yeah. So everyone gets to experience it. All the young people.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize as a kid seeing it was the marketing ruined the whole reveal in the movie.
The reveal of...
Well, let's go over Terminator 1 just for a couple seconds.
Okay.
Terminator 1 is like sci-fi horror.
Like thriller.
All right, yeah, a thriller. I'll go with that.
Okay.
The sequel goes straight up action.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is Arnold was the bad guy, and he's hunting down Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn,
Yeah.
trying to kill the leader of the resistance that's in her belly.
Stop it! No, I don't stop it. I want my baby!
The way James Cameron made Terminator 2, in the narration, we hear Linda Hamilton saying, once again, someone sent back a Terminator, and then the resistance sent back a protector.
Right.
So we see Arnold come back, then we see Robert Patrick come back.
Right.
We don't know who is who. Like, that's the way he made it. But we all saw the trailers. You know, they had to sell the movie.
Yeah.
And they had to give it away.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should
right.
give it away right now. I mean, it's hard to, because they had to sell the T-1000, the effects and stuff. But if you watch Terminator 2 without seeing anything, like, you don't know who's who. Like, they play it straight. They play it neutral.
Hold on a second, Chris. This was part of the reveal? Like all of the previews, it showed the T-1000? It just shat on that piece of
Are you saying...
reveal?
Yeah, they had to sell the movie. I mean...
Are you saying we are not supposed to know who is who until they meet in the hallway in the mall?
Right.
Oh, shit. Because, guys, I didn't get any of the... I didn't see any of the commercials or anything like that. T2 just showed up on TV when I first heard of it and saw it. It was just like, oh, yeah, cool.
Nah, man, you were in the theater with us.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I was
young. You were young.
Yes.
But, yeah, the hallway in the mall. That's when you find out. And it's It's fucking weird because, like, if they had to keep that secret, then you'd see nothing from the movie. Like, you would just be going in cold. They had to sell the movie, so in order to do that, they had to give it away. Isn't that fucking weird? It's like a catch-22 they were in.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is constantly with John Connor in the movie. He's never without him.
Well, that starts in the mall, in the hallway.
Right, but if you're going to make a preview that doesn't give that away, all it is would be, him riding his motorcycle.
Ooh.
Right. They wouldn't be able to market the movie
without
giving it away. That's what I mean. I mean, you see Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in, goes to the biker bar, commits atrocious acts of violence, just like the first movie.
Also doesn't kill anybody, which Robert Patrick does immediately.
Nope. You don't know he kills that cop. Robert Patrick comes in, he's naked.
Yeah, he just punches him in the gut.
He punches him. You don't know what he did, and you don't know who he is. You don't know what move he did on that guy.
Yeah, all right.
They
Fair
hide
enough.
it.
Fair enough.
Like, you think he, sucker punched him and then stripped him down. And took his cop uniform.
You know what would be a great idea? Somebody get onto YouTube. Somebody who's good at editing video. Somebody edit a preview of T2 portraying the Terminator as evil and the T-1000 as good without giving it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
T-1000, even, going up to his foster parents' house and being like, he's showing emotion.
Yeah. Do you have a picture of John?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong, folks. It's just, need to ask him a couple questions. Oh. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, written and directed by James Cameron. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong plays John Connor, and of course, Robert Patrick. But I want to give a shout out to the supporting cast.
Oh, yeah.
How about, Earl Bowen as Dr. Silberman?
Yeah.
Good actor. I mean, he had his role. Joe Morton as Miles Dyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was pretty good.
He was great. And I even have in my notes, he's the guy.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
Speaking of which, the guy in that scene, the head of the SWAT team, is Dean Norris, Hank from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about, what's-her-face? The stepmom, Vasquez from Aliens.
Vasquez.
Yeah. Jeanette Goldstein and Xander Berkeley as the foster parents.
Yeah.
Xander's had a long career. I mean, he's in Walking Dead now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He shows up
Plays the leader of the Hilltop.
Yes.
kind of here and there, and every time I see him, it's a familiar face. I'm always pleased. Mm-hmm. Yes.
They even have Joe Morton, who plays Miles Dyson. He makes the cyborg guy from the DC movies, Extended Universe. That's him. Creates Cyborg.
Okay.
You saw in Batman versus Superman. Little tease for you.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
He's like a
me
similar
neither.
character. Yeah. Okay. Terminator 2, best car chases. This movie is divided into its segments by car chases.
Oh, yeah.
And it's masterfully done. Although sometimes you can see Arnold stuntman.
Yeah, pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Especially in slow motion.
Okay. Billy Idol was supposed to play the T-1000.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he got injured in a motorcycle accident.
Yep, absolutely.
Huh.
Went to
Blackie Lawless, the lead singer of Wasp, was considered as well.
yeah, he was after Billy Idol. I think Arnold.
Wanted him, yeah.
Yeah. And then he found out
He was too tall.
yeah, T-1000 he was supposed to blend in. That was the angle they were going.
But if you look at his face, like back then especially, you're like, yeah, man, he was like a movie villain
Yeah.
in the making.
Yeah, it could have worked.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could do without Robert Patrick. I love that guy. Every time I see him, that's got to be one of those things where Robert Patrick will just be walking down the street. Somebody will be like, oh my God, it's a T-1000.
Have you seen this boy?
Can you say that, please?
Remember Wayne's World?
Oh, yeah. Showed up in Wayne's World. Have you seen this boy?
Robert Patrick was in a boating accident.
What?
He was out sailing with his friends.
When?
and their boat started taking on water. And all his friends were grabbing life preservers and stuff. It was kind of like they were floating on doors and stuff, kind of like Titanic. But Robert Patrick swam 3 hours to shore.
Yeah.
To get help for his friends.
Holy shit.
And he says now, if you don't hurry up and do something quick with your life, it can be snatched away. So he quit his job and moved to L.A. to be an actor.
There you go.
That was his moment.
All right.
Yeah. He got the T-1000 role. But before that, it was the sitting duck henchman from Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
That's what got him the job.
Still.
Yeah, he was great. That was his like one line. He was like, fuck.
That's all you needed. Yeah. A sitting duck. I remember it, man. Because I saw Die Hard 2 after Terminator. Mm-hmm. You know, because we had Die Hard 1, and when I found out there were more, it was like, oh. So when I checked that out, yeah, T-1000.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger gets paid around $21,000 for every word he speaks.
Yep.
In the movie.
How much does it cost for him to say "Hasta la vista, baby"?
$84,000.
There you go.
$84,000. Just for saying that.
Although a better line, even says it in the movie. A better line for that would be, chill out, dickwad. He should have said that when he did it. And then said hasta la vista when he shoots him at the end, you know? Anyways, Arnold never blinks on screen.
Never ever?
Not when he plays the T-800.
This is purposely done?
Yeah, I mean, he's a robot, so, you know, he's always surveilling. All right. I was reading about James Cameron. You know, this is what he says is his guilty pleasure movie to watch. Resident Evil.
What?
But he says, it doesn't have to be good. That's why it's a guilty pleasure. So I'll let it slide.
Weird.
All right, people. Give him your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. Because it's time for Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 3D on a podcast on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
Yeah.
Get the people out! Come on! Get the people out!
So we start off and we see the old Carol Co. logo, but we see it in 3D, baby.
Hey.
And I was like, oh, all right. So we open up on a hot highway. There's LA traffic. We got some kids playing on a playground, and you know, everything's all nice and happy. And there's just this big giant flash of white light. And then we just cut to one of those blue Terminator 2 skull landscapes. And it says, Los Angeles, 2029 AD. And we're on the same playground, man. It's just full of little kids' skulls. Then we start to hear Sarah Connor's voiceover. And she's all like, that was Judgment Day. And everybody who didn't die in the fire, they lived to face a new nightmare. The war against the machines. And right then we got a robot foot come in and crush one of those little kids' skulls. And then we got a whole bunch of the human resistance fighters, you know, fighting in their pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Driving over all the skulls.
A lot of laser guns.
Laser guns. Laser. Thought this was the future. Where are all the damn phaser guns? So they're fighting against all those big tank-looking fuckers called the HKs. And then the flying ones, too. You remember that, Rick?
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Connor's like, yeah, they sent 2 Terminators back through time. One to kill the baby in my belly. No. One to kill me before I had a baby in my belly. And the second they sent to kill John himself when he was a child. Because he was going to grow up to become a Resistance lone warrior. But the Resistance also sent back a Terminator of their own. A protector for John. And now it was only a question of which one of them would reach him first. And then it goes, dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. And it's like Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And then we get a whole bunch more shots of like playgrounds on fire. And then the T-800 skull skeleton face is like in the fire.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Then a smash cut.
Probably the weirdest smash cut that startled the shit out of me.
Yeah. It's masterfully done, too.
And that smash cut is these weird, cool, cold, blue steel metal grates, bang, clanging together. Yeah. And then the camera pans back and we see it's the front grille of a Mack truck. It's 3:00 and we're only at the Dunkin' Donuts cup. Do you know about that?
The one that's spinning on the ground when the wind starts.
So the truck drives off, right? And I'm like, looking at all this shit, ooh, the trash is blowing around in 3D. And there's this big fucking 3D cup right in front of your face, and it's got the big Dunkin' Donuts logo on it. And I remember thinking, like, did they add that for the 3D version? Like, I got to go back and check out the original, see if there's still a Dunkin' Donuts cup in there. And indeed, there is.
Yeah. Do you think that was product placement?
I think it definitely was. But my question is this. If you take an old movie and you remaster it and put it in 3D and then re-release it in theaters, do you then hold your hand out to Dunkin' Donuts again and be like, pay us up again, or we'll take your logo off the cup?
Oh.
Don't even, tempt people into trying to do that.
I mean, would it? Who gets paid? Do they or them?
No, Dunkin' Donuts pays to have their cup in the movie.
Shit.
What I'm more concerned about is when it originally came out and Dunkin' Donuts is like, you made us garbage? Flowing around the street?
So now Duncan's like, do we have to pay you? Shit.
So obviously they didn't pay as much money as Pepsi. It was very predominant in this movie. So yeah, a whole bunch of fucking lightning is going around this fucking truck yard, okay? And then whoop, we got that cool lightning ball that just materializes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And just like that, it's gone. But there is a spherical void where it was, like the corner of the truck is gone, and all the edges of that are glowing orange.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering if they would change that to make it look like there was a perfect circle there, because there's not. As a kid, I was like, they didn't cut the truck right. It looks like there was an egg-shaped thing sitting there, but obviously it was a sphere on screen, right?
Oh, man.
And I was wondering if they would fix that. They did not.
You could have fooled me.
I never noticed
I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a circle.
Go back and check it out.
Okay, I will.
We haven't even gotten to Arnold yet.
It's going to be a long one, folks. And then there's Arnold.
Yeah.
Naked.
No peeking.
Yeah, he's naked. So blah, blah, blah. He goes into a biker bar. Nah, he walks in. He's fucking nude. And he is perfect.
Yeah.
All right. He's walking around and the dude bikers are like, what the fuck? And all of the chick bikers, including the waitresses, they're all like, oh.
Yeah. But you get to see it through his infrared vision.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pinpointing everyone.
Yeah. Scanning. It turns out that during production, while they were doing this, he was actually walking around in a pair of purple board shorts.
Yeah, I'll post that on the social media. It's funny.
And despite it being full of cameras and lights and everything, some lady apparently wandered into that bar not knowing they were filming a movie. And she was like, what the hell's going on? And Arnold said, it's male stripper night.
Oh, I see.
What?
T3.
Yeah, that's what made them do that in Terminator 3.
Oh, my God.
Because he goes into the male stripper club. Talk to the hand.
Some of the dumbest jokes.
All right, just a little aside here while we're on the tangent train.
Yes?
Me and Ron went to see this together. Ron waited after the credits, wanting a teaser, wanting a stinger. And I'm like, they should have added a stinger of T3.
They should have. I couldn't find it on mediastinger.com. Nice job, guys.
That would have been fun.
And Chris was like, "You've seen the other movies. Let's go." I'm like, "You don't know, man. They could have put something." Fucking made me leave. All right, so he finds this old tough biker, and he's scanning him, and it's like, perfect match. He walks up to him. He's like, "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle." And everybody's laughing, okay? Mm-hmm. And the guy's smoking a cigar. He puts it out on Arnold's shoulder, and he's like, "You forgot to say please." And then his buddy, who is the entire time standing behind Arnold Schwarzenegger with a pool cue turned around backwards.
Yeah, they could have fixed that.
Just as soon as Arnold walks up to the old biker, you can see that guy standing behind him ready to hit him. "I got him, Seabass." You just say the word.
Yeah, he's waiting for his cue. No pun intended.
Zinger. So right then he hits him over the back of the head with the stick, breaks it and everything, and then Arnold just fucking turns and looks at him. And the guy's like, "Oh!" And Arnold throws him. He grabs the old biker and then throws him through the kitchen window. And this is one of the greatest scenes ever.
Oh, yeah.
He fucking lands on the hot grill, and it takes a second for him to feel it. And then he just immediately just springs into action. He's trying to scramble his way off of it. And every time he puts his hand down to try to move himself, it is searing flesh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, he finally gets off of the grill, and all these burger patties follow him.
Well done.
God, I love this movie.
Arnold, back out on the floor, he's now getting attacked by another dude with a knife. Who probably should have just left him alone by now. But no, Arnold turns around, he grabs him, slams him down onto the pool table, and then pins him to the pool table with his own knife.
Oh, I remember this. He's going, "Get it out! Get it out!"
Yeah, he's actually going "Pull it out! Pull it out!"
Trying to reach for it.
Yeah.
Ooh, ouch.
Arnold goes into the kitchen, and the guy is "Oh, shit." He's on the ground. And he's all fucked up and burned, and he's man, his night has gone so horribly. Oh. And he just pulls his keys out, and he goes, take it, throws him the keys. And then it just goes, down, and it cuts to Arnold walking out of the bar in his clothes.
Yeah.
From the day I was born. Gets on his Harley Fat Boy, I think, and fucking revs that shit up, getting ready to go. Then this fat guy from the bar walks out and just fires up into the air with his little sawed-off 1870 lever action.
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking 10 gauge. And he goes, "I can't let you take the man's wheels, son." Arnold then gets off of the motorcycle, walks up to him very slowly. The guy is pointing the shotgun right at him, and he just fucking takes it. He snatches it right out of his hands. There is another weird little thing that happens at this part.
Rick, do you remember the goof?
Where he's holding the shotgun with two hands, and then he moves one hand off of it to keep walking up to the guy. And then it shows from a different angle. He's got both hands on the shotgun, and he moves his hand again.
Yeah. It's just a little flub. But, they corrected stuff in this movie, right?
Yeah.
All the stuntman shots where you see him in the chases, you see that it's a stuntman. They put Arnold's face on it. They made it right.
Yeah, they fixed it.
But, the one goof that me as a 5 or 6-year-old noticed, and I was like, I could be a filmmaker someday. Everyone makes mistakes. They didn't fix that. I don't know. All right, go on.
Yeah. Go watch it again and check out the shotgun flub outside of the bar.
Yeah.
Then he drives away on the motorcycle after that. And it cuts to a cop pulling up somewhere else, and it's blue outside.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm responding to an electrical disturbance. Check it out. I'll get back to you. He walks up to this big chain link fence, has a big glowing hole in it. This one is a perfect circle. And he's like, checking it out. And then the naked T-1000, Robert Patrick, just silently walks up behind him and then sucker punches him off screen.
Well, we don't know he's the T-1000.
Yes,
But
we do.
the sucker punch probably had like a steel rod sticking out of his hand,
it's
you
a
know?
big blade. It's his thing. Knives and stabbing weapons. Now he is in the cop's uniform, and he gets into his car, and he uses his little cop computer to do an inquiry on John Connor. Finds out where he lives, that he's in a foster home. So then we cut to that foster home, and John Connor is in the garage working on his dirt bike with his redhead buddy. Mm-hmm. When Vasquez from Aliens walks out to get the newspaper out from under the sprinkler, she walks up to John, and she's like, "Hey, John, could you get in there and clean up that pigsty of your room, you know?" And he's like revving the engine of his dirt bike. And she's like, "John." And he revs it real fucking loud until she just walks away. Then John's like, "Ha, yeah." And then his redhead friend just goes, "Foster parents are kind of dicks, huh?"
I know, right?
And as a kid, I was just like, yeah. What do you think of his foster parents, Rick?
Like, what were they portrayed as?
Chris and I had this big discussion about this. See, I remember as a child taking away from this film that his foster parents were like kind of scumbags, you know, and, really white trashy, and it collateral damage, like it's okay that they die in this movie, you know, because they were like kind of shitty to him.
Yeah. Like, he belongs with his mom.
Yeah.
You know, the foster parents are evil. Kinda, sorta. When you watch this movie now, they are good people.
Yeah, they are fine. She goes out there, asks him to clean up his room, and he just revs his bike until she walks away. He's the dick.
Yeah, he is a dick. You see their home, and it's like a healthy home.
Yeah, it's a nice house. Now, they still kind of like painted them as like white trash. You know, there's like this old gold fucking Trans Am, I think, in the fucking, driveway. And the foster father, Todd,
Yeah.
he's like sitting on the couch watching TV, smoking a cigarette in a baseball shirt. And she's like, "Todd, you going to help me? God damn it. He hasn't cleaned up his room." And he's like, "God, what?" Like he's lazy, portrayed like he's unemployed. But look at this nice house they have.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, they're foster parents, which means they wanted to make a difference somehow, right? But more importantly, they were also certified by a government agency to be foster parents.
Right.
Now, that doesn't guarantee that they're good people. Plenty of people abuse the system. Mm-hmm. But seeing it as an adult, I was like, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of seeing it now. Because as a kid, you see that shit, and it's basically a parent telling a kid to clean his room.
Yeah.
And fuck that shit. But as an adult, yeah, go clean that fucking room. Fucking little dickhead.
Fucking kid probably stinks in there.
Yeah. Probably has plates of old food underneath the bed and
like,
shit.
Like water bottles full of pee behind his PlayStation.
Dickhead. Todd's fed up.
Todd has checked out.
Yep. Fuck that. It's his day off. He's going to drink a beer. Watch the game.
Works like 60 hours a week, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know how many hours he has to put in to take care of that fucking family with that nice ass house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so hardworking Todd. He walks outside, and John Connor and his redhead friend are getting on the dirt bike, getting ready to speed away. And Todd's like, "Jesus, John, what do you do? You know, get back inside, do what your mother tells you." Which, to be honest, that might have been a little fucked up. Because then John turns around and he's like, "She's not my mother, Todd." And then he speeds away. But the most absurd part of this is as he's speeding away, his redhead friend like throws his fist in the air like, "Yeah! Fucking foster parents." Now we cut to the Pescadero Mental Facility.
Yeah.
Dr. Silberman is making his rounds with a little group of students, I guess.
Yeah.
And he takes them to Sarah Connor's cell, and he's talking about her. He's like, "Yeah, she's a fucking crazy bitch." He looks in, he talks to her on the intercom. He's like, "Hey, Sarah, how you doing today?" She's like, "Oh, Dr. Silverman, yeah. How's the knee? Now, what she's also doing in her room, she has totally taken apart her bed and turned it lopsided so she can do pull-ups on it.
Yeah.
He turns to the students and he's like, yeah, she stabbed me in the kneecap with my pen 3 weeks ago. And he turns to this creepy orderly and he's like, hey, so-and-so, I don't like to see the patients disrupting their beds like that. See that she takes her Thorazine. And the guy's like, yes, Dr. Silberman.
This is the special blonde orderly.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
The
We'll
creeper.
see him later.
Cutting back to the foster home, Robert Patrick is now knocking on the door in his police uniform. And Todd's like, yeah, what's going on, officer? Does John Connor live here? Oh, yeah, why? What's the little piece of shit done now? He's like, I'm just trying to find him. And then Vasquez is like, oh, yeah, what's going on? He's like, do you have a picture of John? Yeah, here. Like, can I keep this picture? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're the second guy looking for him. There was a big guy on a bike looking for him earlier. Should we be worried? What's going on? And then Robert Patrick is just like, I wouldn't worry too much about him. So now John Connor and the redhead, they're at an ATM. And they're using John Connor's, special computer. And it's this little laptop before there were laptops.
Yeah. It's a Unix system.
Yeah. It's a Unix system. I know this.
It's a magical hacking little mini laptop.
Little hacker top. He sticks part of it into the ATM, and then it will decode the pin, the pin number, and it's like counting down.
It even says pin in giant words on the fucking screen.
And he's like, come on, baby, come on, baby. And then it works, and he puts the number in, takes $300 out, the maximum withdrawal, and he's like, yeah, piss cake. And ever since I was a child, I was like, why does he say piss cake? Go back and listen. He says piss cake. Then they ride off. They're riding around in the spillways that I guess are in L.A.,
The canals.
The canals. When Arnold Schwarzenegger is driving by and just happens to see him and recognize his face, his computer.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah. He's like, oh, there he is, talking to quiet. Drive around to where he is going. Now we cut back to Sarah Connor, and she is having her 6-month review with Dr. Silberman. And he's playing a video for her of her going the fucking Judgment Day is coming. You guys are all dead. You don't even know you're dead.
Yeah.
You're all fucked.
For a little context, it's what happened in the first movie is what she's been finished explaining. Robots are after her, and
she is clearly insane.
Yeah.
So then Dr. Silberman pauses it while she's freaking out on the video. And he's like, so, Sarah? And she's just standing there smoking and watching it fuck. And she just goes, I'm feeling much better now. And he's like, oh, yeah, your attitude has definitely been better, okay. But so you're telling me you're totally fine now, And she's like, yeah, I understand that there's no robots that are coming after me. He's like, yeah, because you were pretty serious about those robots, okay? Yeah. They're not trying to hunt you down and kill you or anything like that. She's like, no. Well, how do you know that? Well, because if I had destroyed that first machine that I said I did, there would obviously be some evidence, and there is not. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm glad you see the reason behind that. And she's like, now listen, you had told me that, I should have a goal in mind and something to look forward to, and you told me that in 6 months, you'd move me to a minimum security wing, and I'd be able to visit my son. I really want to see my son. And then Dr. Silverman just goes, yeah. Let's get back to these robots. So you're telling me that Cyberdyne system, they're not covering it up anymore? And she's like, no, I know that they're not. And then it cuts to Cyberdyne Systems, who is indeed covering it up. And we see in their lab, everybody's walking around doing some work, okay? And there's this fucking slobby kid who's walking around. He's got a fucking lollipop sticking out of his mouth, okay? He's got a big bag of gummy bears or something in one of his pockets. He's got a clipboard with a big old Pepsi can balanced on it, okay? And he's not A-list material for laboratory, okay?
Whoa. Hold on now. I remember this guy.
You're defending the slobby kid.
Oh, yeah.
He like knocks over a trash can. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, he's like a bumbling nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he seemed like an all right guy.
His talents come out when he sits at a computer, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing about this movie is everybody has obviously a backstory. Like, everybody's real.
Yeah.
And that dude, he was just like, Mr. Dyson? Mr. Dyson? I just wanted to talk to you about the troops a bit. And I was like, he seems all right.
I'm thinking his dad got him a job. Probably, just if he could just have a chance to apply himself.
Mr. Dyson's a stand-up guy, but it's this nerd. He's the one who like pressed the enter button and then Skynet took over.
And he's like, oh, yeah, just like you said, Mr. Dyson. Somebody needs to see it, okay? So you need to sign it out, all right? And I was wondering, could you tell me, if you know, where it came from? And then Miles Dyson, smooth motherfucker. Mm-hmm. He's in control. He walks by and he's like, I asked the same thing. You know what they told me? What? Don't ask. So Miles has to go and get it. And he has to go through a double lock where two guys have to turn a key at the same time, right? So the guard's like, hey, Miles, how's the family? Yeah, it's all good. Okay, turn the key in 3, 2, 1, turn. And then the door opens. So they're in this clean room vault, and we see in these little glass cases there is a Terminator arm. And then what is left of his little control chip, microchip.
And this is the remains of the first Terminator from the first movie
Oh, yeah.
that they've recovered.
So now it cuts back to Sarah's review, and Dr. Silberman is like, 6 months minimum security? Yeah, then you can see your son? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think you're just telling me what I want to hear, and I'm gonna, advise that you be kept here for another 6 months. And she just like, goes fucking ape shit!
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, she fucking attacks him across her desk, and then the orderlies have to step in and shit.
And she stabbed him in the knee with a pen 3 weeks ago.
Just
what was she expecting?
Exactly. So now we cut to Robert Patrick, and he has pulled over on the side of the road and is asking two little girls, have you seen this boy? Showing him a picture, right? And there's this redhead, and she's like, oh yeah, that's John Connor. He's, he was just here like 15 minutes ago. I think he said he was going to the Galleria. He's going to Galleria? And her friend's like, yeah. Not a lot of people know this, but it is pretty much accepted in canon that redheaded girl is John Connor's wife later.
Yeah, Claire Danes from the third movie.
Yeah.
And then what's her name from the Christian Bale one?
Yeah, because we find out in the third movie that they were making out in someone's basement, like the day before.
Yeah.
And he had told her he's going to the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how the T-1000 responds, and he just goes, the Galleria?
Yeah.
Like he knows it.
The diarrhea? So now Robert Patrick, the T-1000, he's walking around the diarrhea, and he is asking everybody, have you seen this boy? Have you seen this boy? Every kid that he talks to is just like, yeah, he's over there. Okay, so he goes into the arcade where John Connor is playing Missile Command, which is a foreshadowing thing to Terminator 3. So then his redhead pal is like, I'm going to go get some quarters. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, okay, cool. So while he's getting quarters, T-1000 finds him. He's like, hey, have you seen this boy? Yeah, no, I don't know him. Plays it off pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then he runs back to John, who's now playing Afterburner. And he's like, hey, check it out. That cop over there's scoping for you, bruh. John, turns and looks, and he's like, oh, shit. Yeah, go ahead. Get out of here, man. So then John's like, oh, man, I better go out the back door of the arcade. He goes backstage at the mall. Okay? In those hallways that nobody gets to see.
Yeah.
He gets back there and he's running, and there's a mall employee who's walking with a Pepsi can of his own. And he's like, hey, you're not supposed to be back here. And then coming around the corner is fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger with a big box of roses.
Yeah.
A box of Guns and Roses, if you will. The song You Could Be Mine is a big prominent song in this movie.
Yeah.
John sees him and he's like, oh, fuck. So he starts running back the other way. Arnold drops the fucking box and the flowers, and we see that he's pulled out his sawed-off shotgun. John Connor gets cut off by this fucking cop who's now in there looking for him. And he's like, oh, shit, I'm between the both of them. He turns around. Arnold Schwarzenegger just goes, get down.
And then we know that he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he then shoots the T-1000. And the shot just like... just kind of makes a little silver spot on his body.
Yeah.
Like he's made out of pudding, right?
Yeah.
Pudding.
T-1000 just like pulls out his fucking sidearm and just starts fucking unloading down the hallway. Kills the mall employee, who it sort of seems like he like stepped into the path of bullets. This is the day. This is the day I end it all.
The fucking guy who's in that hallway and gets in the path of the bullets.
Yeah.
He's like the same guy as the dude at the end of Mannequin who like jumps in and tries to find his own princess mannequin.
He is.
It's like the same guy.
It occurs in the same universe.
At that enemy mall.
Illustra.
Oh!
We gotta do that movie one day.
Okay. So I guess they run out of bullets, and then the two Terminators start like, a clash of the Titans in the hallway. Oh, and, they're throwing each other around, and the fight ends up spilling out into the mall proper, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Getting thrown through fucking glass windows and shit. Arnold Schwarzenegger's on the ground. John Connor has just run, okay? And the T-1000 stands up, and as he's walking away, he looks at this weird silver mannequin for a long time. Now, we have yet to actually see the T-1000 be a silver molten metal man. So that scene actually has no significance.
Yeah. It's important to note, if you've never heard of Terminator, the T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger is a bigger robot. So he's played in the movie by a bodybuilder. The T-1000 is designed to fit in more, and he's smaller. But you're seeing them fight, and the T-1000 like is just as strong as him.
He's rocking him.
Yeah.
So then he runs off into the back of the mall again to chase John Connor, and Arnold Schwarzenegger stands up. And as he is, there's some dude who's like, taking his picture? John Connor runs into the parking garage, and he gets on his dirt bike, and he speeds off. The T-1000 comes out and starts fucking running him down on foot.
Yeah.
All right. Robert Patrick had to train so hard for this movie, but he didn't have to do anything but run.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing, is like he had to be able to run and not sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
John Connor pulls out of the parking garage and he almost gets hit by a fucking semi-truck, okay? He pulls away anyway, and then the driver, like, stops the truck and gets out to shake his fist, okay? And that's when the T-1000 fucking throws him and takes his truck.
Yeah.
Takes his truck and, like, fucking goes after the dirt bike, okay? Then Arnold blazes out of the parking garage on his Harley and turns left. Having not witnessed which way they went. John Connor's down in the canals again, and he, like, finally comes to a stop because he doesn't see the truck anymore. And he's like, yeah, okay, cool. All right, I think I lost him. And then the fucking truck is flying over the overpass just above him and, like, lands down into the fucking canal and just keeps fucking coming at him.
Mm-hmm.
And this truck, this is an awesome chase. This truck is, like, roaring like a fucking lion while it's coming after him, you know?
Because these canals, like, it's like a dry season.
Yeah.
They're built for when they do get rain, but it's like fertile ground for a car chase because they're desolate. But then you see, like, above them the overpasses where, like, the normal city is.
Normal life is happening.
It's just a perfect car chase. I don't know.
Yeah, I might add that during this chase, the truck passes a gas station. And the name of the petroleum company is Benthic Petroleum. Does that mean anything to either of you guys?
Yes, it does.
What?
It is the petroleum company that owns the mining and drilling rig in the Abyss.
Oh, wow.
They occur in the same universe, gentlemen.
Cool.
Boom.
So Judgment Day really doesn't matter because there's aliens. And they are good aliens.
Yeah.
They're going to take care of this. You just have to trust.
You know, this level in the Nintendo game was fucking hard.
I believe it. Arnold on the Harley, he sees what's going on, and he's like driving at the top. Like he can't actually get into the canal yet. He missed the entrance in the first time. So he's just following him, like keeping an eye on the chase down there, okay? The truck is like slamming into the fucking walls of the canal and shit. It's all violent and everything. Arnold finally pulls out his fucking shotgun and then shoots the lock off one of the gates and now drives down into the canal. Right after he shoots it, he does his iconic badass one-armed cocking of the lever action shotgun where he flips it under. You know?
Yeah.
Fucking amazing shit. After this movie came out, that's been in like every video game ever.
Yeah.
The chase goes under an overpass, and the truck loses its roof. Okay, so now T-1000 is catching some sun. Arnold hasn't quite made it down into the very bottom of the canal, and now he has to make a big, slow-motion motorcycle jump. And as he's doing it, it's all slow motion. He's coming right at the camera, and we can see, indeed, the obvious stuntman's face has been replaced with Arnold's.
Yeah.
And it's actually done quite well. John's getting bumped by the truck. Arnold fucking pulls up ahead of the truck and then grabs John Connor and throws him onto the back of his own motorcycle. And then the dirt bike is given to the ways of the truck wheels, which then crashes into a fucking divider and comes to a dead stop. Arnold skids to a stop, turns around to look at the truck. And there's like fuel pouring out of it, and then there's like one of the battery cables hanging, and then it makes a spark, and it goes, pew! And then boom! Fucking truck explodes. Yeah, so they leave. Fuck it. And then the T-1000 walks out of the fire, and he is a silver man. Now it is nighttime. And John Connor's like, okay, wait, time out, stop the bike. They stop, and he's like, okay, so you are a Terminator, right? That's the thing that my mom was telling me about?
Yes, I'm a Terminator.
So what are you, a fucking robot or something?
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue of a metal endoskeleton.
And he's like, well, who sent you?
You did. In 35 years, you reprogrammed me.
And he's like, well, what about the other one? He's like,
Oh, that is the T-1000. He is a mimetic polyalloy liquid metal. He's a metal man. Liquid metal, okay?
Yeah. He's like, all right, fuck, what do we do now?
We have to escape the city and then, like, just run forever, I guess.
I think that was their plan.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta go home first, man, pick up a couple of things. I left a bottle of pee behind my TV. I don't want anybody to find it.
And he's like, negative. The T-1000 will have, thought of that, and that's where he will try to reacquire you.
Well, how do you know that?
That's what I would do.
So he's like, I gotta check on my foster parents, because now I care. So from a payphone he calls, and then Vasquez is in the kitchen chopping up vegetables.
Yeah.
No big deal. Just a night at home.
Making din-dins.
Not knowing where her kid is. So he gets her on the phone and she's like, yeah, John, what's going on? I'm making pot roast. Come on, honey. And he's like, she's never this nice. What the fuck's going on?
Arnold's standing there like, yeah.
And you can hear the dog in their backyard like barking up a fucking storm. And John's like, the dog is really barking. And then Todd walks into the kitchen. He's like, man, what the fuck is going on with this dog? He's barking and shit. What's he barking at? I don't fucking know. Reaches into the fridge, pulls out a carton of milk, starts drinking out of it. So he won't stop bitching. And then we see Vasquez just like get a little annoyed with him. And then she just juts her left hand straight out off camera. And then his bitching stops. Arnold takes the phone and he's like,
what is your dog's name?
Max. And then in John Connor's voice, Arnold says, Vasquez, what's wrong with Wolfie? Is he okay? Vasquez says, Wolfie's fine, honey. He's going to be fine. Why don't you just come home? And then Arnold hangs up the phone and goes,
your foster parents are dead.
I love this part of the movie because it's the only time they're talking to each other. They never talk. They only fight.
Yeah.
But you could have a whole movie of these two robots on the phone, like putting each other through their own personal Turing tests. You know? It's fucking creepy.
So then we see Vasquez and the camera pans back and her left arm is now a big, shiny metal sword. And it is disappearing through the milk carton into Todd's face. So then we get this little shot of her like turning it back into a normal looking hand and staring at it because she doesn't understand, life. So then Arnold is also explaining to John Connor the T-1000. He's like, yeah, he's liquid metal, blah, blah, blah. And John Connor's like, well, okay, so he can like turn into a gun?
No. No, that's not what that means. Okay, nothing with like moving parts and shit.
Okay, well then what are his weapons?
knives and stabbing weapons.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. But he can like disguise himself as anything, like a pack of cigarettes?
No, only objects of equal size.
So now we cut back to the mental facility, and Sarah Connor is being questioned by some cops. And they're showing her pictures of this Terminator asshole from the 80s. Like, yeah, we know you know this guy. Because these other photos, these were taken at a mall today at the diarrhea. And it's the pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger getting up off the ground, okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is definitely the same guy, Sarah. And we know you know who he is. So talk, bitch. And Sarah is just like staring at the photos, and she's totally catatonic.
You'd think Dr. Silberman would be kind of like, well, maybe she might be telling the truth at this point. But he doesn't.
Yeah. He just looks at the cops and goes, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
They start packing up their shit and leaving, and as they do that, Sarah Connor steals a paperclip. To avoid detection, she sticks the paperclip up her butthole. So you know something's coming. Cutting back to John Connor and Arnold. He's like crying about how his mom was right about everything, and she went to a mental asylum. It's fucking bullshit. You know what? We gotta save her.
Arnold's like, nope, negative. It's logical that the T-1000 would go and copy your mom and then wait for you to try to make contact with her.
What's gonna happen to her?
Typically, the subject that is copied is terminated.
Oh no! We gotta save her! And then Arnold like grabs him. He's like, no, come on, goddammit, no! And there's a couple of jocks in a car, like a little ways away. And he's like, help, he's trying to kidnap me! He's kidnapping me! And then these jocks are like,
Hey, man, something's going on over there. Let's go check this shit out, man. Let's try to help this kid.
couple of good guys, you know? And then John's like, let me go! And Arnold just drops him. So John's like, ow, why'd you do that?
Because you told me to.
Wait a minute. You have to do whatever I say?
Yes. You programmed me.
All right. Right about then, the jocks show up.
And they're like, hey, kid, you need some help?
And then fucking John turns around and just goes, get lost, dickhead.
Seriously.
Or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? And so was the jock. He goes,
what? You're this fucking little douchebag.
And then John turns around and goes, douchebag? Did you just call moi a douchebag? I can't believe. You know what? Grab this guy. And then Arnold fucking picks him up. And he's like holding him. His buddy tries to defend him. And then Arnold like throws the buddy, grabs the next guy, puts him down against the car, and is about to shoot him in the face. When John Connor like pushes the gun away. And he's like, get the fuck out of here, jocks. And he's looking at Arnold. He's like, what the fuck, dude? You were going to fucking kill that guy. And then Arnold goes,
I am a Terminator.
He's like, no, you can't. You can't kill anybody. You can't just go around killing people. Now, I'm going to get my mom out of there. And I order you to help me. And he's just like,
I don't think this is a smart move, but okay.
Cuts to the T-1000 driving into the asylum, gate. He's like, yeah, I'm a cop. And the guard's like, okay, cops get to come in no matter what. Come on in. Cuts to Sarah being put away in her room and like lashed to her bed, like she is every night, I guess, by the creepy orderly. She's still just staring off into space. And the orderly's like, yeah, I know what I'll do. Just to shake her up a little, get a reaction. I'm gonna lick her face from her chin to her fucking eyeballs. And he does it, and it's real slow, and you can hear his tongue on her skin. She doesn't move. And he goes, huh. And then he just leaves. And as he's walking away, he's got his big nightstick, and he's like, rubbing it along the wall so everybody can hear him. And he's like waking up anybody who might be sleeping. He's just like a fucking cock.
Yeah.
At that point, she knows he's gone. So she does her paperclip escape where she shoots it out of her asshole. Right? And it lands right next to her hand. So then she uses it to pick her locks and get the fuck out of there. T-1000 walks in and he goes up to the desk and he's like, hey, Sarah Connor here? And the lady's like, oh yeah, she's in there for questioning. Oh. And then all the other cops, along with Dr. Silberman, they're walking out. And she's like, there's your friends now. She turns back. T-1000's gone. And she's like, huh? So then we get this other security guard who's like, letting him out. Yep, go ahead out, guys. Okay, now I'll lock the door behind you. This is one of the redheaded scientist twins from the movie Gremlins 2.
Oh, yeah. Another redhead, huh?
James Cameron, man. So he's checking the doors and shit. It's fine. He walks over. The floor of the hallway is all black and white checkerboard. He walks over it, and then we see like his boot print on it, and then the boot print kind of disappears. So he walks past it. He's going to the coffee machine. As he walks past it, a fucking face starts to rise up out of the floor, and it's all black and white checkerboard. And we see that the T-1000 has just flattened himself out.
Yeah.
So the guy's getting his coffee, and then all of a sudden behind him is an exact copy of himself. He turns around and he's like, And then the copy of himself just puts his finger up in the air, points it at him, and then it just becomes a big, long fucking silver spike and goes right into his fucking eye. Yeah. And the guy's just like, twitching and dying right there on the end of this fucker's finger. Yeah. So now, taking the place of that guard, he's able to just walk into the patient ward. And all the orderlies and the security guard are like, yeah, come on through, Carl. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor runs across the face licker. Because he's like, yeah, here's an open door. I'll look inside. It's a broom closet, but one of the brooms is broken in half. I wonder what's going on. And then he just gets beat to shit with that half of the broom by Sarah Connor. She's like, licking my face. She takes his keys and then runs down the hallway like a gazelle, barefoot and athletic. T-1000 has now turned back into Robert Patrick the cop, needlessly. And he is hunting her down the hallways. Sarah Connor busts into the guard shack there and takes out one of the orderlies and then finds Dr. Silberman. And hits him across the arm with the nightstick she took off of the orderly.
Yeah.
And he's like, you broke my arm! She's like, shut the fuck up. She picks up a fucking hypodermic needle, jams it into a jug of liquid plumber rooter. Okay, this blue acid shit. And she's like, fill in the syringe. And Dr. Silverman just goes, what are you going to do? So now John Connor and Arnold are going up to the mental asylum front gate. Mm-hmm. And John's like, don't kill anybody. He's like, what? It's like, yeah, you can't kill anybody. Swear that you won't. And then Arnold's like, I don't know what that means. Just put your hand up and say, I swear I will not kill anyone. I swear I will not kill anyone. So he's walking up to the gate, and the guy comes out, and he's like, visiting hours are weekdays, 2 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger just shoots him in the kneecaps. Takes his gun and his bullets, and then they walk through the gate. And John's like, what are you doing? I said not to kill anybody. Arnold goes,
my body, my choice.
So now Sarah has got Dr. Silberman hostage, and she has a hypodermic needle full of blue plumbing cleaner already stuck in his neck. She's walking up to the guard shack. She's like, open the fucking door. I'll pump it full of this shit. I swear. And when I saw this, I was like, the needle had to have had plumber cleaner on it, or at least maybe a little drip out of the tip. He'd probably already be collapsed in pain, you know? Right. His neck had to be burning like fire. I mean, that's acid, right?
Yeah.
So using him, she gets past the locked doors and shit like that. And they're like, all right, come on now, come on. There's this butch lady security guard with this big bouffant haircut. Mm-hmm. And she's like, come on, you're not going to get out of here. Fuck you, bitch. Let me through. She gets through and she's walking backwards with Dr. Silberman. And there's an orderly hiding around the corner. As soon as she passes by him, he just reaches out and takes the needle out of the guy's neck. I was like, yeah, pretty good thinking, man. And then he sticks around to get his ass kicked by Sarah Connor. Then she just runs away. And Dr. Silberman's like, get her! So they all run off. The T-1000 is now coming through the guard shack. He knows shit's going down. He's following the chaos. Sarah is running to the elevators when out of the elevator in slow motion walks Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger. So she stops, fucking skids to a halt. She falls down onto her butt and she starts scrambling backwards and she's like, no! Cause she just knows him as the piece of shit robot that was trying to kill her in the first movie, right? So she runs back around the corner, gets taken down by all the orderlies with Dr. Silberman, who is now loading up a shot of Thorazine. John's like, help her. And Arnold's like, all right, fine. So he walks up to him with his big old shotgun, and he just grabs all the orderlies and like starts throwing them through windows and shit, taking them out. The butch lady security guard walks up. She's like, come on, motherfucker. And he just grabs her by the face and pushes her 50 feet down the hallway. She goes sliding. Yeah. Bitch. He turns to Sarah Connor and he says,
Feel how soft my skin is.
but there's no time for the feeling of the skin because the T-1000 has now reached the bars at the end of the hallway and everybody's just staring at him. And then he just goops his way through the bars.
Yeah.
All right. And he's walking and then ping, his gun is stuck and he has to like move it so it'll fit through. He walks past Dr. Silberman who had like the cap from the hypodermic needle he was loading up, like sticking in his mouth, and he just drops it out of his mouth. Can't believe the shit that he's seeing. The other three are now running into the elevator, and just as it closes, the fucking T-1000 shoves a big fucking blade in between the doors, and then that blade morphs into some crowbars, and then he pries the doors open. He's like, motherfucker! And then Arnold just like, shoots him in the face, knocks him back, then the doors close.
Yeah.
Elevator goes down, and then the T-1000 just like, still with his crowbar arms, drops down like a fucking praying mantis or something. And now he's stabbing fucking blades down through the roof, and it's like, oh shit, watch out! Sarah Connor gets one in the shoulder, and she's like, oh god! They get down into the parking garage, and they steal a cop car. T-1000 is fucking running after him. Still has the crowbar arms. Mm-hmm. So they're driving around this parking garage, and John Connor has to like load the guns for Sarah and Arnold. Okay. They're just about to pull out, and then the T-1000 makes one big jump towards the car, and he hooks onto the bumper. Then the car skids out of the parking garage and heads down the street, and there's just like this lifeless T-1000 doll dragging on the fucking ground. So now with his crowbar arms, he's like climbing up onto the back of the trunk. He smashes the window, and he's like trying to reach for John Connor, and then Arnold's like, here, drive. Makes Sarah Connor drive, and then he fucking turns around with his shotgun and just shoots one of the T-1000's crowbar arms, which actually breaks it. Okay? And then he shoots him again and knocks him off the back of the car. But there's that little piece of crowbar hand just like sitting there, stuck into the back of the car, and it's like twitching. Yeah. And then John Connor just like reaches back and pushes it away. And it goes ting, ting, ting into the road. So they lose him. And then the T-1000's like, all right, I guess I'll stop running after him. He walks up to the little piece and he like regoops it into his foot. And it goes like, wow. So now they're driving down the road, and Sarah Connor's like, you stupid fucking kid. You know, you coming to save me? That was stupid. You have to worry about yourself. You're going to be a fucking general in the resistance, man. And John Connor's just like, but I love you, Mom. She's like, I don't give a shit. Fuck you. So then they go and they break into this old auto mechanic garage. And this is where Chris told me to just skip it. So it's the next morning. Fuck you, Chris. We're going back.
They're safe. They're taking a breath.
They're stitching up their wounds.
Yeah.
All right. Terminator is like sewing Sarah Connor's shoulder shut. And somebody's like, do you know what you're doing? And he's like, I have extensive files on human anatomy. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then
and she's like, sure you do.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? He just saved your life.
I know. Yeah. She's a bitch. She's like, makes you a more efficient killer. And he's like, yes. So then it cuts to her pulling bullets out of his back, and there's like 1,000 of them. John Connor holds his jacket up to the light, and it looks like Swiss cheese, and he's like, does it hurt when you get shot? And Arnold's like, I sense the injuries. The data could be called pain. So it's like, yep. Yeah, he feels pain. Nobody ever thinks about that. Think about that later when his face is half ripped off. So he's like, is there any way you can learn to, be more human, and not such a dork all the time?
And he's like, yeah, the longer I'm around humans, the more I can act like them. So, I guess.
Then John goes to sleep, and Sarah Connor, who doesn't trust this Terminator, just watches him all night. And all night, he just stands at the window watching outside with his shotgun. It's pretty cool. So the next day, they go out and they jumpstart a car. And then John Connor, reaches up into the visor, opens it, and then the keys fall out. And he jingles them into Arnold's face, and he's like, are we learning yet? Like a little dickhead. They stop at a gas station, and we see a couple of kids playing with toy guns. And they're like, no, I shoot you, fuck you too, no, fuck you. And then John Connor has this, moment. And he's like, oh, man, we're not going to make it, are we?
Yeah.
And then Arnold just goes, it is in your nature to destroy yourselves.
Sarah Connor is, hanging out the backseat door, eating a burger.
Yeah.
But she's, depressed and deep in thought, but still eating a burger.
John's like, do you want some of my fries? And she's just stoic, chewing. Now on the road, she's like, all right, I need to know how Skynet gets built.
And he's like, the person most directly responsible is Miles Dyson. He's a fucking scientist. He's a pretty cool guy.
They talk about, Skynet becoming self-aware and then launching nuclear missiles at Russia. And John's like, why?
Because it knows that Russia's nuclear response would destroy its enemies over here.
So, nuclear Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Connor's like, head south. We're going to my Mexican friend Enrique's house.
Yeah.
They get there, and Chris told me to skip this too. But there's important stuff here.
They get the guns.
They show up, and Enrique is like an old friend. He's like, hey, come on, Connor. You're so jumpy, Connor. And his family, they knew John as a little baby. So oh my God, it's so happy to see you, fuck. And then Arnold, they got this little baby walking around. And Arnold just
picks it up by its overalls and stares at it in the face. It's a very cute moment.
So Sarah's like, you two are on weapons detail. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger just
Picks up a chain that's in the dirt and he pulls on it. And then this door just slides off of this
open fucking bunker in the ground full of fucking guns. All right. Guns, ammo, fucking grenades and shit. And it just they're in the middle of the desert. Okay. It just had a board sitting on top of it. So the first thing I thought, I was like, oh man, that thing's going to be fucking full of rattlesnakes and shit. And then I was like, well, what if it was? But the Terminator's the first to go down the stairs. What if the Terminator got bit in the face by a rattlesnake? Now, his tissue is living tissue, so it would react to a snake bite. So then, the whole rest of the movie, half of his face is all, super swollen and purple. And everybody's like, what happened to you? They're down there pulling out guns, and the Terminator pulls out a champagne gun. The rest of the world calls it a minigun, but fuck it. So he holds it up, and then he cracks a smile at John Connor, even though he's a robot. Doesn't know about smiling.
He's also curious about that baby he picked up too.
Yeah.
The fuck.
So then John's like, yeah, that one's definitely you. Then they have to fix the truck. So they're underneath it, and Arnold's turning wrenches and shit, and he's asking for stuff
torque wrench.
And John Connor uses this opportunity to talk about his dad, Kyle Reese. I guess I sent him back, whatever. Sometimes Mom talks about him. I can see she's still in love with him, and she cries at night. And then Arnold turns to him and goes,
why do you cry?
And he fucking goes, no, just when you're sad and shit. Nothing's wrong, but it hurts anyway. Get it? And Arnold goes, no. So then he gets out and he starts the truck, and John's like, all right, my man. And he holds up a high five, and Arnold's like, the fuck? Come on, slap my hand. Yeah, all right, high five, yeah. And then we get that sequence where he's teaching him how to do it, right? And he's like, all right, up high, down low, too slow. And then Arnold gives him a look like, bitch, fucking with me. Sarah Connor is watching him, and she gives this voiceover, and she's like, watching John with the machine. I can see that over all the years, all the possible father figures, he was the only one that measured up. And I was like, did you give all of them a chance? How much of them did you just leave? Because John was like, she would just shack up with anybody she could learn from.
Yeah.
Some of them guys might have loved her. While she's talking about that, she's like carving crap into the picnic table she's sitting at. Then she watches the Mexican family and, everybody's having fun and shit. And then she just falls asleep and has a fucking dream about the playground. And on the playground, it's her with a little baby John Connor. And she's watching this from outside the fence and she starts banging on it like, hey, you're about to die. It's a nuclear explosion, but I gotta warn you. And then it goes off. Now, what happens in this sequence? There's a white flash, and then everybody just catches on fire, and they start fucking burning, and they get all shiny and shit. Mm-hmm. It's fucking weird looking, and then they just they burn so fast that they just turn into ash, and then the shockwave from the fucking nuke hits, and it just obliterates the city and shit. I did learn while I was researching this movie that the governing body of nuclear science or whatever has called this the most realistic portrayal of a nuclear blast in any movie.
Ooh.
She's holding on to the fence and all her meat flies off. And it's just a skeleton.
Yeah, man. Fucking pretty bad.
Yeah. Sam Winston, the effects guy. Good job.
Stan Winston?
Yeah.
So then she wakes up and she looks at what she carved into the table and it just says, no fate. And then it just shows her leaving. She gets into a car. She's in tactical gear. All right. So she showed up. She's like, Enrique, we need your guns and I need some tactical clothing from your wife.
Yeah.
And John's like, wait, Mom, no. And the Terminator's like, I don't know. And he looks at the no fate carved into the table and he's like, no fate, but what we make. Oh my God. It's a message. Kyle Reese told her that I made him memorize it. And that means you can change the future. And then Arnold just goes, she's going to kill Miles Dyson. And then John goes, Miles Dyson? She's going to blow him away. She's like, we got to stop her. We got to go. They get in the car and they're driving. And Arnold's like, killing Dyson might actually prevent the war.
Yeah.
It's probably a pretty good plan. And then John just goes, I don't care. No way. No killing. Way to look out for the human race.
Yeah.
So now we cut to the Dyson house where life is good. Miles Dyson, taking care of his family, doing very well. It's a nice house.
Yeah.
He's doing some work in his office, his home office, okay? His little son, cute as hell, running around the house with a remote control truck. His wife is like, come on, Danny, it's time to go to bed. I told you. Now we see Sarah Connor is out back and she has a suppressed automatic rifle with a fucking red dot sight pointed right at the back of Miles Dyson's head. Danny runs the truck into Miles's leg and he has to bend down to pick it up. And right then is when Sarah Connor's shot. So it hits the computer screen and he's like, oh my God. So now Miles has to hide behind his desk and she just fills his whole fucking office with bullets. And he's like, Danny, run. His wife's going fucking crazy. She runs out of bullets and she's like, fuck that. She just walks in, pulls out her sidearm and is like, going to kill this asshole. He ended up getting hit in the shoulder or something like that. And now she has got him dead to rights, leaning across his coffee table while his wife is trying to get her son out of the way. And her son is on top of Miles, don't kill my daddy.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor's like, bitch, get on the ground. So now she's got him in her sights and she's like, you motherfucker, I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let you do it. She's fucking going crazy. And he's like, all right, I'm about to die. I'm going to get shot in the fucking face. And then she can't do it. And she looks at her gun and she looks at him and then she starts backing away. And she's like, oh God. And I actually leaned to Chris and I was like, hey man, why didn't she kill him? And Chris goes, maybe a little too loud for in the theater. He goes, because in this moment, she is a Terminator, killing a man for something he hasn't done yet. And I was like, okay, Jesus, man. But I remember thinking, damn, he's such a smart guy.
Fucking Minority Report. Come on.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
So Arnold and Jesus Christ show up.
What?
Oh, you guys haven't figured that out? That's who John Connor is?
Yeah.
His initials are JC? Come on.
I got you.
Oh, nice.
So she's crying on the ground, and John's like, oh, Mom, are you okay? Are you okay? And she finally breaks down, and she says, I love you, John. I have always loved you. And then they look over, and Arnold is like, trying to help Miles Dyson, who got shot in the fucking shoulder. And he's like, who are you people? Who are you people? He's a real breathy guy. And then John just pulls out a switchblade, hands it to Arnold, and he goes, show him. Arnold Schwarzenegger then takes off his jacket and cuts the skin around his fucking elbow and then slices a big fucking line from his elbow to his palm and then rips the whole thing off in one shot like a big fucking flesh glove. And it's just his robot fucking hand, like flexing in the light. And it's all bloody and shit. And everybody just starts screaming.
Yeah.
Like an unbelievably gory thing.
Fucking beautiful scene.
Oh, yeah, it was great. And then Arnold looks at him and starts flexing his bloody robot fingers, and he says,
I'm pregnant.
Then it cuts to Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, sitting down at the table explaining all of Skynet and Cyberdyne systems to Miles Dyson. But instead of getting to hear that, we just hear Sarah Connor saying, he explained everything about Skynet to Miles Dyson. And after she says that, Miles just goes, I can't believe it. I can't believe what I did. I feel like I'm going to throw up. And then he looks at Arnold and he's like, I feel you judging me. The emotionless robot.
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, yeah, I guess learning you're responsible for 3 billion deaths is kind of a shocker. And then she's looking at Miles and she's like, pieces of shit like you, men like you thought it up. You don't know what it's like. You don't know how it is to create a life and feel it growing inside you. All you know how to create is death. And then John Connor just goes, Jesus fucking Christ, Mom.
Dude,
Stop.
John Connor fucking saves the day in that scene.
He actually says, I think we need to be a little more constructive here, Mom.
She is so dumb and immature at that moment.
Yeah. And they're like, we have to stop it. And then Miles's wife says, but aren't we changing it right now? I mean, talking about it, we're changing it right now, right? And Miles goes, yeah, you know what? That shit, I'm quitting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's not good enough. We have to destroy all the files, you know, everything here in your house, and then we have to go to Cyberdyne and destroy all that shit so nobody follows your work, okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, okay. So it cuts to the Cyberdyne building. We walk inside, and there's this old guard just kind of sitting there staring at him. Mm-hmm. And Miles is like, hey, Carl, is it? And Carl does not even fucking move. He's like, yeah, some friends from out of town, and I just want to take them upstairs and show them around the lab. And then Carl finally goes, Mr. Dyson, you know the rules. They got to sign in. This is not going to happen. And then Arnold just pulls a gun and he's like, I insist. So now it cuts to them upstairs, but we see his guard partner who's like walking out to see him, and he sees there's nobody at the desk, and he's like, God damn it, Carl, you can't leave the desk like that. Goes into the bathroom to find Carl tied up on the fucking bathroom floor. Now, how disgusting is that? He's like, ah, fuck. And he triggers the silent alarm. So now they can't get into this little locky thing that has one of the double keys in it.
Yeah.
And John Connor has to use his Unix system pin hacking computer.
Dun, dun. All right.
Piece of cake. So while he's doing that, Miles is trying to get into this other door. And he's like, oh, the silent alarm's been tripped. My key's not working. And then Arnold goes, let me try mine. And he pulls out his little single-shot grenade launcher. And he just goes, boom, boom. The whole fucking thing blows. Because of the fire, it sets off the building's halon gas system. So it's, you know, it evacuates all the oxygen. They're not going to be able to breathe in there. So Miles is like, yeah, you got to wait for the gas to clear out. And then Arnold just fucking, fuck that. Walks on in. goes and gets some gas masks so they can go ahead and get started. So they start rigging the place to blow.
Yeah.
And they've got these giant barrels of explosive, and I don't know where they got them. They had to have already been in the building. So they're setting all the files and all the computers in the same spot so they can blow. And at this point, it cuts to the T-1000, and he's at the Dyson house, like, looking into the burn barrel at all of the files burning. So he knows they're probably going to Cyberdyne. Then it's confirmed because over his police radio, there's like, hey, there's a fucking guy who is responsible for some shootings back in 1984, and he's at the Cyberdyne building, and so everybody get over there. Everybody get over there, but let's meet at the donut shop.
But the T-1000,
Doesn't like donuts.
well, this time he's a motorcycle cop.
Yeah, that's right. He had stopped a motorcycle cop, and he was like, hey,
Yeah.
nice bike.
So he's got these aviator sunglasses that mimic his silverness. It's weird. Scary.
Yeah, it totally takes away his humanity facade.
Yeah.
So now outside the Cyberdyne building, cops show up and they fucking surround the place. And they even have a chopper. So back in the lab, Miles is like, hey, how are we going to detonate all these explosives? And then Arnold looks at him and he holds up a remote control and he goes, by remote control. And then he goes, like he's calling a horse, like he clicks with his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's not something that a Terminator would do, I don't think. Yeah. So then John Connor finally gets the little key thing and he's like, yeah, hey, let's go get the arm and the fucking chip and shit, okay? But hey, fuck, there are cops all the way outside, man. They're all over the place. And then Arnold's like, I'll take care of the police. And he's like, but wait, you said you wouldn't kill anybody. And he turns around, he smiles, and he goes,
My nipples are very sensitive.
So he walks out to the window, busts it out, and it has the Sam Penny gun. And he just starts mowing down the fucking parking lot. And he's filling cars with bullets, and he's like mowing down trees.
Yeah.
All these cops are jumping out of the way. He fucking tosses the Sam Penny gun aside, pulls out his grenade launcher, and just starts blowing up all the cop cars like one by one. Everybody's like, oh shit, run, run! And at the end, he's scanning it with his red computer vision, and it says, human casualties, 0.0.
When he does this human stuff that we don't like, is it because...
He's a learning computer?
Yeah. Is that like the justification?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
There's no reason for this not to be the perfect movie.
Okay.
But who, at what point, went,
Yeah, who taught it to him? Maybe old John Connor in the future taught it to him. Maybe he hung out with him for like 6 months before he left.
Maybe.
If you gotta show somebody how to push a button, just like that.
works good with horses, too. Oh, wait.
Ron nudged me in the theater, and he was like, he just went...
The fuck is that? So the cop starts shooting back, and he's like, I'm going back inside now. They get over to the double lock, and 3, 2, 1. They get in there, and they pull out the arm and the microchip. And Miles Dyson is like, okay, now to get it out of that glass case, you just... and then John Connor just breaks it on the ground. Now, this is not really a big deal, unless you're looking at Miles Dyson's face. And he is like, you fucking little asshole. Go back and watch it. Then John Connor picks the shit up and he's like, we got Skynet by the balls now, don't we, man? Come on, baby. And then the SWAT enters the lobby.
Yeah.
They're like, go, go, go. And they are led by Hank from Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. Arnold's like, it's time to go now. So they're getting their gas masks on, and Miles is like, here, hand me the detonator. It's no big deal. And then SWAT enters the lab, and they enter shooting, okay? Yeah. Shoot on sight, motherfuckers. So Miles gets pinned down. I think he gets shot a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He gets pinned down, but then we're immediately with Sarah Connor, who is also pinned down. And she's like trying to fight back a little bit, but, you know, she's pretty much screwed. So,
they don't see the giant yellow barrels that say flammable.
Yeah, they don't see that shit yet. So she fires up into the air, and she uses that opportunity to, like, you know, run behind another desk. Okay, she ends up in the clean room where the arm and the chip were, and John sees it on a camera, and he's like, oh, shit, she can't get out of there. And then Arnold's just like, I'll break through the wall. And he busts in like the fucking Kool-Aid man.
And why did I spend all that time hacking the key out?
Damn right. Oh, yeah. So they're getting out, and they are like trying to escape the building. The SWAT in the lab, they're like looking around now. It's all quiet and shit. And they find Miles Dyson, who is sitting on the ground, shot and dying, all right? And he is holding up like a paperweight or something from the lab, but he's holding it above the detonator, the remote control. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know how much longer I can hold this. And then Hank looks down and he's like, oh shit, everybody out, go, go, go. And they all run out, and it's super quiet, and we stay with Miles Dyson, and he's just like, and then click, boom, goes the dynamite. So only that floor blows up, all right? The rest of the building's okay. And the T-1000 has shown up on his motorcycle and decides to ride it up the stairs, okay, to that particular floor.
Yeah.
He does it pretty good.
Yeah.
So now they get down to the lobby. I guess they took the elevator, the three of them. And the lobby's now full of gas from the SWAT team. And they're in there with gas masks, and they're waiting for him. And then Arnold's just like, stay here. I'll be back. And he just walks out into the gas, okay? And they're all like, get down on the ground. Come on, motherfucker, get down. He doesn't care. And then they're like, okay, drop him. And they start shooting at him. And all the bullets start bouncing off of his face, and you can see little bits of flesh disappearing from around his eye. And he just walks by all of them and shoots them all in the fucking knees. Okay, one of them tries to get away. At that point, Arnold picks up the gas grenade launcher and fucking fires one and hits that dude in the back, and it just goes thump. And then the guy's like, oh! And he goes down. He shoots a couple other people with it and shit, but the gas is now coming out of those grenades, and Sarah and John have to get out, but they only have one gas mask between them, so they have to like keep taking turns. Mm-hmm. Arnold walks outside and then fills the parking lot with gas grenades. So all those cops are like, everybody back up. Holy shit. This guy really knows what he's doing. So then Arnold goes and gets into this big police van, okay? And he's about to hotwire it when he opens up the visor and the keys fall down.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I am a learning computer. So then he goes and crashes into the lobby with it so they can just jump in without having to run through all the gas. And then they fucking leave. At that point, the T-1000 is up on the burning floor with his motorcycle, and he sees the van leaving, and he's like, God damn it. And then there's a chopper still flying around. Come on now. Everybody, they're in the way.
Yeah.
And the T-1000's like, yeah, okay, I got this. So then he revs his bike up, and he fucking jumps it right out of the building. Goes out, lands on the front of the helicopter, busts the window, and then spills in like liquid metal, baby.
Get to the chopper!
Fuck yeah. The pilot is like, dude. Then he morphs back into the motorcycle cop, and he just goes, get out. But he's still all silver. He's got the shape, but not the color.
Yeah.
That pilot just jumps out. Jumps out, hits the ground. Smartest guy in the movie.
Wasn't that long of a fall.
Yeah, and he knew it. Almost like he'd been through it before. So now they are heading down the highway in the police van. Sarah Connor's like, chopper coming in. Arnold's like,
You a damaged goods lady.
So now the T-1000 is flying behind him, and he's got his assault rifle. He's shooting at him, but he's also piloting the chopper, okay? And if you look close, you can see the T-1000 has 4 arms at this point, and I think that is one of the coolest things in this movie.
I couldn't spot it, but yeah, I've heard about that.
I went back and checked it out. It's pretty cool.
Does this famous scene where he flies the chopper under a fucking overpass, okay? While they were filming, none of the camera crew would do it. They all refused. And James Cameron himself had to be in the car filming it. Mm-hmm. And they had to do it twice. When he's in front of the chopper and then once behind it.
Yeah.
And the pilot was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we can do it. So now Sarah Connor is sticking out the back of the van. She's got a bulletproof vest up against the window, so she's fine. Gets shot anyway. Then the chopper comes down and like rams the back of the van and crashes a little bit, and yet fucks up and crashes himself. The van flips onto its side and fucking skids down the highway. The chopper is now in, wreckage on the highway, and both of these two vehicles have a good Samaritan stop to help them.
Yeah.
Okay? Both of those drivers then just lose their trucks because they get stolen by all these fuckers on the highway.
Yeah.
The truck the T-1000 takes is a semi hauling a tank of liquid nitrogen. The truck the Terminator gets is a tiny little, like, Datsun pickup with a house on the back. So now they're in a little truck chase, and John is like, come on, man, step on it. They're going like 55 miles an hour, and Arnold goes, this is the vehicle's top speed. John's like, I could run faster than this. Come on. T-1000 ramming their little truck. It crushes the little house on the back. Arnold's like, here, drive a minute. And then John Connor has to drive while the Terminator just like, picks up an assault rifle, gets on the back of the truck, jumps up onto the front of the semi, fucking kneels down on it, and just sprays fucking bullets into the T-1000 while he's driving it. And that motherfucker is just like, fucking getting rocked and rolled in there.
Yeah, that's a good moment.
It was a great moment. And like, Arnold, totally in fucking control when he does that. Like, that is what he fucking meant to do, bitch. Speeding down the highway,
Yeah.
standing on top of the front of a truck, no problem.
And you have the two vehicles, they're really in motion, and that actor is like walking along those vehicles
Yeah,
and getting
man.
up, getting in there. It's
Hell yeah.
fucking cool.
Arnold, before he did all that, he had been like shooting grenades at the truck with his little launcher, and he was going to load his last one, this is important later, into his launcher, and that's when the truck rammed him. So he lost the grenade, and it just falls down into the bed of his little pickup truck. That's when he picked up the machine gun and did that stunt.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the T-1000 is Swiss cheese, he no longer really has great control of the truck. And they end up fucking driving into a metalworks foundry. Okay? That is like fully operational. Okay, there's employees in there and everything, and they're all in like silver heat suits. There's like molten metal pouring.
Yeah. For the kids who don't know what that is, molten orange metal, liquid metal, just like in vats.
Yeah. Hot slag. So the semi breaks in half and liquid nitrogen just pours everywhere. So it's like steaming and vaping all over the place. And all these employees are like, holy shit. This guy gets over the loud thing and he's like, get the fuck out of here. Everybody panic. He hits the alarm and it's like, doo, doo, doo. Everybody's got to get the fuck out. So now the Terminators are alone. Perfect setting for the end fight.
Mm-hmm.
The T-1000 is walking out of the truck. He's okay now. And then he's like walking through the liquid nitrogen and his feet start fucking breaking because they're freezing. All right. And then he has to kneel down because his fucking legs break off and shit. And he's like looking at his hand and then he freezes solid. Arnold walks up to it. He's looking at it, pulls out his sidearm and he goes, hasta la vista, baby. That'll be $86,000. And he shoots the fucker one time, which then shatters him into little tiny shards that just tinkle everywhere. Okay? So then, that's a good time for him and John to like stand there and watch for a really long time while all of those pieces then melt and start pooling back together instead of getting the fuck out of there. Still the perfect movie, though. It's fine. Arnold walks over to the truck and he picks up his very last grenade. He's like, I'm probably going to need this. So then they have to drag Sarah Connor, who is shot and wounded, through the foundry. So they're going, and Sarah Connor's like, wait, stop. Because now they're in front of one of those big liquid metal vats. Mm-hmm. And she's like, it's too hot. It's too hot. Go the other way. Because Arnold is like, I can't tell these things. T-1000 is now gooped back together, and he's coming at him. So Arnold's like, John, you've got to go now. So John and Sarah, they start scurrying off by themselves, and then Arnold goes into search mode. And we see this in his computerized vision. And he's just walking around, pointing his grenade launcher. And then the T-1000 surprises him from the side, just like the fucking Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. Yeah. And he's like, clever girl. T-1000 fucking hits the grenade launcher out of his hand. It goes flying. And then they start to grapple. T-1000 grabs the Terminator and like shoves him over near this big, giant, heavy machinery turning cog and gets his arm caught underneath it. So now the Terminator, Arnold is like, I can't fucking move my arm. I can't go anywhere. And the T-1000's just like, you're fine there. Okay, you stay there while I go kill your friends. Arnold has no choice but to just rip his arm off. Just rip it free and just limp on. Mm-hmm. Sarah Connor tells John to get down on some weird conveyor, and she's like, just go, man, just go. Here. Yeah, it'll be fine. Then the T-1000 finds her, and she has this fucking showdown moment with him, and she's got this shotgun, and she's cocking it. It's a pump action. She's cocking it with one arm and fucking shooting it into him. She shoots him with it like 5 times, and every time he's hit with one, it just like leaves a little goop hole in his body. Mm-hmm. But each shot like pushes him backwards a little bit, and he is about to fall over into one of the molten steel vats. So now one more shot ought to do it. And then it clicks empty. And she's like, oh shit, no, that didn't happen. I'll do it again. She cocks it again, and then it clicks empty. Then the T-1000 just walks up and finger stabs her right into the fucking shoulder. She's like, ow! And he's like wagging his finger at her like, nah. And then his other finger on his other hand like gets real sharp and goes up close to her eye. And he's like, call to John now. And she's like, fuck you. But right then, Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up behind him with a big pry bar in his one good hand and then fucking chops it right down into the T-1000, which like fucking cuts him like Play-Doh. Yeah. And he kind of splits apart a little bit. Sarah Connor runs off and the two Terminators start clashing again. T-1000 just kind of like pulls the pry bar out from the side of him and he just like goops shut again. And then he starts throwing Arnold around, and he's hitting him in the face, and he throws him against this wall, and then he grabs some big heavy machinery thing that's like hanging, and he keeps sliding it towards Arnold and smashing his fucking head with it. Does it like 3 or 4 times, and Arnold is just like, oh yeah, okay, fuck. All right, you might be fucking me. Arnold's on the ground now, and he's just like, starts to crawl away from the fight. T-1000 is just kind of watching him, and then Arnold looks over the side of the gangway he's on and sees the grenade launcher that he lost earlier. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, yeah, okay, I'll get that. He starts reaching for it, and then the T-1000 stabs that pry bar down into his body. And Arnold, he's okay, but like now he can't move, right? And then the T-1000 starts like twisting it around inside of him. Like, yeah, come on, bitch, I'm going to do some damage inside of you. Arnold's like, nope, I'm going to get the grenade launcher. He's reaching for it again. T-1000 pulls it out and then slams it back down into him in a pretty important spot because then fucking Arnold goes down. He starts powering down. There's all this lightning like there was when they first showed up and shit. And fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger dies. His little red lights in his eyes just like go out. Yeah. And his computer vision goes offline. It cuts around to Sarah. She's like loading her shotgun back up. And then John Connor, he's still hiding, still, running around. At that point, we see Arnold Schwarzenegger again. And his computer vision like boots back up. And it says, alternate power connecting. And then his eyes light up again and he's okay. Now, reaching underneath the gangway that he's on, he just like pulls the pry bar back down through him. Yeah. And he's like, okay. Now I'll grab the grenade launcher. Then John's walking around and he hears Sarah Connor calling to him, John, come on. Come out, John. So he goes to her. And, she's limping around because she got shot. And she's like, come on, come here, baby, come on. And then he sees another Sarah Connor walk out behind her. But this one's got a shotgun. And he's like, oh, fuck. And then the one in the back goes, John, get down. And he goes, shoot, and jumps out of the way. So then she shoots him, and you know what? This is actually where she shot him the 5 times, and he goes back and almost falls into the slag. So then she runs out of shells, and her and John just start holding on to each other because they know they're fucked. They're going to die. When then, again, all of a sudden, Arnold Schwarzenegger is behind him, and he's like riding up this cog, and he's riding up, and he's got the fucking grenade launcher already pointed at the T-1000, and then he just says,
I want my Larry.
don't want to see you.
And then he fucking fires it into him, and it goes, pew! And just goops into the T-1000, and then boom, it fucking explodes. And after it explodes, the T-1000 is now splayed all open. He's still standing on his two legs, but his top half is like a fucking Picasso painting. And then he does indeed stumble backwards, and we do see his head, okay? And it's like hanging upside down, and it's like, like, error, okay? And then, yeah, he stumbles back and falls into the molten steel. While he's in there, he starts like having these like death throes, and he keeps morphing into previous people that he's copied throughout the movie. Like we see Vasquez, we see the fat guard from the, eye stabbing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we just see his silver face, and it's like screaming, "Wah!" And then it just melts into nothing. John Connor's like, and he looks at Arnold and he goes, "Is he dead?" Arnold says, "Terminated." So they're like, "Okay, we're good. What do we do now?" Arnold's like, "Throw the arm in and the chip." So then John Connor does that, and we see them just like disappear into the molten steel, just burn away on contact. And they're like, "Yeah, okay, it's over." And Arnold's like, "No, there's one more chip." And he points at his own head. He looks at Sarah Connor and he's like, "You will have to lower me into the steel. I cannot self-terminate." John Connor's like, No, don't do it. Don't do it. And fucking Arnold's like, "Yeah, I have to, John. I have to do it. I have to do it." "No, I order you not to. I order you not to." And for some reason now he doesn't have to obey him. Because he's like, "I gotta do it." And he looks down at John and he like wipes one of his tears away and he's like, "I know now why you cry. But it is something I can never do."
Oh, this is sad.
I know. He turns to Sarah Connor, who then holds out her hand. And they have a handshake of professional courtesy. Like, "You've done a good job, asshole."
And you as well.
Bro moment.
Hell yeah. So then he steps his foot onto the chain, and he says to John,
"Goodbye."
and then he kicks away from the platform and is now out over the molten steel. So now Sarah Connor just hits the button, and he starts
Slowly lowering into the steel.
Finally, all there is one arm holding the chain and his head above the molten steel, and the Terminator looks at John and says,
But I'm all woman.
and then his face burns away, and only his hand is sticking out, and it slowly gives him a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And then it lowers down into the steel and burns away. Fucking beautiful shot, man.
Yeah.
And then his computer vision, it shows that again, and we get one last pew as it goes offline. And then we just get a nighttime shot of the highway, like rushing by under the point of view of a vehicle. And we get a voiceover from Sarah Connor, and she's like, "Now, after all of that bullshit, I'm looking off into the future with a sense of hope. Because if a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too." And then the credits roll, baby.
Yeah.
But in 3D.
Dun 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 dun.
Da-na-na. So there you have it. Terminator 2 Judgment Day on Movies with Ron.
Good job, man.
Thanks, buddy. Rick, what'd you think?
It rocked.
Yeah. I'm glad I got to see it in theaters again.
Yeah, man, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
I need to get down there.
It's a unique opportunity, and anybody, even if you've heard this show, go and check it out. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to the guy in the movie theater in 1991 when we saw this as children who stood at the end of our row.
Yeah?
Every kid in that theater, it was jam-packed. Every kid in that theater felt like shit at the end of that movie, dude. Because the boy's robot was no more.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? A boy can't have a robot.
Yeah.
And There was a guy waiting at the end of our row being like, he will be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I mean, that guy, I don't know. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. One last thing. James Cameron did a Ask Me Anything.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And this is from the username, I am not Skynet. And they ask, are there any timelines where Skynet wins? If so, how is this achieved?
Uh-huh.
And James Cameron says, look at everyone on their phones. The machines have already won.
Oh.
So there you have it.
Yeah, nice one.
Folks, if you're using Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. We're on all your other favorite podcast apps and movieswithron.com. We got Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Movies with Ron. It's been fun.
Yep, love you.
We'll be back.